Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya na vedasaha avijñātam vijānatām vijñātam avijānatām. Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya na vedasaha avijñātam vijānatām vijñātam avijānatām. Whosoever does not know that, he knows that. Whoever knows that, he knows not that. That is unknown to those who know. That is known to those who do not know. Very depressing statement. Totally depressing. Whoever does not know, knows. Whoever knows, he does not know. That is unknown to those who know. That is known to those who do not know. I don't know what to say. Now, I can only think of one able person in this class who can explain all this is Harish. Harish, can you please explain mantra 3 to everybody explicitly? Bring some clarity to all this confusion.
Guruji, I knew I would be picked for this. I just knew it.
You knew it.
Sorry, Guruji, excuse me. In its own, I know I'm going to get this wrong from what I understand. It's worded in a different way. It's almost like it's same like mantra 2, but it's worded a different way in that sense.
Yes.
I feel.
Yes.
It's just worded in another way, but it's the concept similar to mantra 2. What I understand, Guruji, is the student who does not know is aware he does not know. He's aware of his own ignorance, from what I understand. And it's like a tongue twister.
Okay. No, I'll spare you with that difficult challenge. Now, the best way to understand, as I've said, is to replace the word with subjective objective. Use the word subjective objective. It makes it very easy to understand. Okay. Now, the guru is endorsing the experience of the student using the same language. He uses the same language what the disciple speaks, and he assures it. This is the beauty of the master. He just goes along with the shishya. Now, just capture this, and then we shall write. Please write it down, take a snapshot, you will understand it, and then you can go through it later. Now I read it with the insertions, which is not in the original text, please. Whosoever does not know objectively knows it subjectively. Whosoever knows it objectively, he does not know subjectively. That is unknown to those who know objectively. Only thing is that word one subjectively also has to be in red. That is unknown to those who know objectively. That is known subjectively to those who do not know objectively. Hmm? Hope you have got it. So the only thing is the word just a minute, huh? Is ensuring you get this right. So never mind. I'm just trying to oh. So whosoever does not comprehend that, are you able to see it now? Harish, are you able to see it? I just want to know whether you're seeing the shared part. Okay. Okay. Right. Hmm. So whosoever does not comprehend, whosoever does not know that, he knows that. He so does not know objectively, knows it subjectively. Hmm. Kamalji, what is it that you're asking, Kamalji?
I was, Guruji, I was trying to think, and knowing objectively is easy to understand. When we say knowing subjectively, are we saying is the direct experience like approach gyan or through intuition? That's what we are talking when we are saying knowing subjectively, because obviously we are transcending BMI in that case.
So subjective here means pratyaksha, direct perception. It's no more a heard say. I have not heard about the self from the gurus. I have not read about the self from the textbooks. It is not anumana. It is not through inference. It's not through agama. It's through direct perception. It's through experience you have seen it. It's like you have heard so much about the Taj Mahal, example. It's no more of the beauty of that experience you've heard from others or you've read the works, you've seen pictures. No, it is actually being there physically and experiencing it. That is a direct experience. So in that sense, it's a direct perception. You have actually experienced the self. And as you rightly said, self-realization is not something which can be borrowed from the physical, mental, intellectual, because it's a limited offering from the BMI. Therefore, we say subjective is, it's a personal, internal transformation. It's an internal becoming. So the word subjective is only to tell that it transcends the BMI. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely. But I guess since we don't have that kind of experience, it's difficult to imagine at this moment.
It is very difficult. It's only other example that you can draw a comparison. When I spoke to Ushama, I said is a dreamer when he wakes up, that wakeful experience is, even if I were to come into the dream with the knowledge of who you are as a waker. Let's say as a guru, I come into your dreams. If you really are possessed with this knowledge, I guarantee you will dream about this knowledge. And I do. Whenever I have dreams, I have somebody coming and giving jnanam to me in the dream. So how much thought you keep pondering over this all the time, the same experience I have in the dream also. Believe me, I'm not trying to impress you. So the thought's so overwhelming, it just transports you into the dream as well. But in the dream, let's say you're having a different experience, and I come and tell in the dream to you, you are not what you think you are. You're going through a difficult phase of life. You think you are a teenager having teenage problems and having various hiccups of life. I tell you, it's just a false world. I know who you are. I tell you, your real name is Kamal. Wake up. Would you understand that, sir? How much ever you could believe in what I'm saying, I can't give you that experience as a guru. You are devoted. You want to take what I'm saying, but yet you don't understand. Vis-a-vis, when you actually wake up the next morning, or a few moments later you wake up, that waking up to the waking state from the dream and that experience of subjective experience, who you are, cannot be compared to all the lecture you got from me in the dream of who you are. Does it add up to this experience? Not at all. It doesn't. So therefore, all the finite experience can never give you infinite. So it is when you wake up, then you get that infinite experience. So it is something related to the dreamer becoming the waker. Similarly, a waker becoming a realized soul, getting into the fourth experience. We don't have the capacity to fathom. All I can say that. But just the closest you can go to is this experience of all the knowledge of the dream will not give you the experience of the waking state. And all the experience of the dream doesn't add up to that experience of the waker. It doesn't add up. It's just one level higher. And one who wakes up knows it. He knows that he's woken up. Isn't it? That's what the word subjective means, sir. And the tragedy is I'm trying to explain the word subjective also through objective. That is the challenge. That is the difficulty I'm trying to explain. I have no words to explain. Beyond a point, it is beyond words. Isn't it? Okay, ji.
Thank you, Guru.
Yes, yes. So Harish, can you please complete the mantra 3 for us, sir? Harish ji, if you can just finish I just started, whosoever does not know that, he knows that. So can you lead us through step by step, sir?
No, Guruji, I don't think I can. Not truthfully.
Okay. No issue. Sidraman, sir.
Hari Om Guru.
Yes, sir. Hari
Om. I may not be able to express, but I have fully understood this verse 2, whatever as a student has told, in a different form, Guru is repeating it and endorsing this thing. This objective, subjective, I fully understand. and but I will try my best to. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want the? You want me to share the? Oh,
Yeah. I have.
Gayatri, you have it with you, the
Yeah.
translation?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, sir. Maybe Gayatri Ma, can you just share the thing? If I share, I'm giving away the answer, no?
But Guruji, many I didn't understand certain things in other classes, were something basic, but here somehow I could get a grasp of it.
Very good. Very good. So please, you got to share that wisdom with us, sir.
No, I'll attempt.
Yeah.
Whosoever does not know subjectively, objectively, does not know objectively that he knows that subjectively.
All right.
What it means is who all the realized person, self-realized person, is infinite as he is in a being state. It is unfolded. He does not know. Naturally, it is not a state which has been understood by BMI. He is in the beyond the transcendental state, and he has unfolded, and he is in the being state. He has self-realized soul. That is what it means.
Okay.
And whosoever knows that objectively, he knows not subjectively. Naturally, anyone who says he has seen God, that this objectively means, it means that trance and ecstasy and all that bhakti, this thing. They all say we have seen God and we know Him and we have seen Him and all. That he has not known subjectively, because it means that.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. And that is unknown to those who know objectively. The same, these first two lines is getting repeated in the second two lines in a different form again, so that it is reinforced again.
Okay.
It says those that is unknown to those who know objectively. Whoever knows objectively, that is by trance, ecstasy and all, they have not really known what is self. They have not realized, they have not gone to that state at all. So the question doesn't arise. They don't know Him only objectively. And that is known to those who do not know objectively. That is unknown to those who know, that is known to those who do not know.
Yes.
That is Guruji, I want this with subjectively, objectively. You have a slide, isn't it?
Okay.
Last line is objectively.
Okay, Gayatri Ma, if you can stop sharing, let me. Right.
Yeah. So that is known. That is unknown to those who know objectively. That is known subjectively to those who do not know. Who do not know actually. No, you have written this. Do not, I think. Last line. Who do know objectively? Is it
who do not? Yeah, do not. Yes.
Do not. So all those who know subjectively, they do not know objectively. I'm unable to elaborate, but I am clear and I got it.
Okay. Right, sir. No problem. Perfect. Right. Yes, Harishji. Yes, Situji.
Guruji, if I may try and oversimplify it, then I think there is some, I mean, I can't go into the depth that you have got into, but if I oversimplify it, if I say that which is limitless, I limit it, then then it is an objective understanding. And if I do this, obviously I'm not in the limitless level, which is subjective.
Mm.
However, if I say that I know it is limitless and I am in the subjective state, then at that stage I'm beyond this objective, limiting concept, and therefore I am not in that state. So it is just trying to differentiate that when you are in the infinite, you are not in the finite, and when you are in the finite, you are not in the infinite. I think that's what he's saying, and that's the essence of it. So if you know that, if you feel that you have got the contours of the self, you have got it all laid out, then and therefore it is objective, then you cannot be subjective, because you have limited it. But if you have not limited it, if you are in the unlimited state, then you do not know what is the limited state. I think that's what it comes down to.
Okay. Yeah, if that helps you understand, yes, you can use that, replace that word there. Yes. Yes, Setuji?
I just want to tell, see, when you are in unlimited state, being state, you see Brahman everywhere. So the question of finite doesn't arise. You see Brahman everywhere. So no, there is no need to see finite at all. You see everywhere, every object in the world is Brahman. You see everyone as self. So it is infinite state only everywhere, and he has no problem in being like that.
Correct. Correct. Yes. Yes, Setuji. Okay. Yes. Tinkima.
Hari Om Guruji.
Yes, Pa.
In this, every time the word objectively is used, does that mean as an object of perception?
Correct.
Okay, so like, who does not know it as an object of perception,
Emotion and thought.
they know it as a direct experience. Okay,
Correct.
is that what it means?
Yes.
And who knows it as an object of experience, who thinks Brahman is an object of experience like an idol or whatever, then they do not know it as a direct experience.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. The next thing that is unknown means Brahman is unknown to those who know objectively. That is, they have taken the idol to be Brahman. But actually,
Yeah.
they don't know Brahman because they are taking the idol, the finite to be the infinite.
Correct.
That is known subjectively. That means through direct experience, not through, as you said, not through Praman, Paroksha, Anuman, to those who do not know it objectively. So those who do not take Brahman as an object of experience, or do not see the finite idol as Brahman, they know it through direct experience. But I have a question here. This is my understanding. My question here is someone who knows Brahman subjectively, that means is self-realized, then they still continue to live in the world. Is that right? They will still continue. And when they see another person seeing Brahman as an object of experience, they recognize that they are seeing as an object of experience, but they have nothing to do with it. They don't take the object of experience to be the reality, but they recognize it when others see it as the reality. Is that accurate? Or
See, from a standpoint of a person who's attained the subjective experience or realized soul, for them, everything is Brahman thereafter.
but they
Anything,
know that the ideal is not the reality. They know that, right? Or Brahman is in the ideal, yes, but is not Brahman.
see, they know that Brahman, they know that God is there in the idol, but they know that God can't be limited to that idol.
Ideal.
Because they have attuned to the limitless self, which is an all pervading self. Every object or being is nothing but
Brahman.
Brahman and Brahman alone. So they are able to relate to the all-pervasive nature, which is Nirgunaha. They are able to attribute to God as the formless reality. So when you look at God as something with a quality, with an attribute, with a form, it is called objective. So let's perhaps put that way. Objective is to qualify God with a quality or an attribute. Harish, if you can write this sentence for everybody's benefit. Objective is to qualify God with a quality or an attribute, which makes it as saguna. Subjective is to understand Brahman as formless, attributeless reality, which is nirgunaha. So sagunaha is having a name and a form. Nirgunaha is there is no name and a form, there is no attribute. So subjective is to understand God to be formless, the all-pervading reality. Nirgunaha, attributeless. That's a subjective experience. So one who has that subjective experience sees that all-pervasive reality, which can't be confined to a form which has an attribute or a quality. If this perhaps could elucidate further what the word objective and subjective denotes. Okay, I'm just reading what Harish just captured to ensure you all got it right. Objective is to qualify God with an attribute or a form which makes it saguna. Perfect. Subjective makes God, not makes God, but subjective is to understand God as a formless, limitless reality. Add that word reality there. So subjective experience is to understand God as a formless, limitless reality, which is nirgunaha. All right. Yes, Hariji.
See, subjective experience can be reworded as becoming, because God cannot be experienced, just like it cannot be known.
You could say
Only
that,
an
yes.
object can be experienced.
Yes. So it's a subjective becoming. Instead of, okay, you can change the word subjective experience to a subjective becoming, just to be very strict with the language. But we are trying to just
Yeah, I got it.
convey the concept of objective and subjective.
Technically,
Okay?
experience, you can only experience an object.
Yes. Okay. Harish, are you following, Harish?
Guruji, it's quite a lot to digest. I am still somewhere confused, but I think I'll need to view the video and hear the lecture 1 or 2 more times to get clarity, which I shall do using that method.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. No problem. Yeah. But just to comment what, yes, Harish, perfect. But anything that you think can be clarified right away?
Thank you. No, not at the moment, Guruji. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, Rao Garu. You want to say something? Yes, please.
When we do worship of with the name, with the idol, with the senses, we think that with the senses we can see him. But that is not true. The real God, who is a formless, is a Brahman, who can't be seen through the senses.
Yes.
That is the level which is called consciousness of soul consciousness. That is the subject, whereas object is the body consciousness. So we always think that we are praying, puja, all such things. There we can't reach that level. Beyond that level, which is only one has to go into that nirguna state. That is a stage where there are senses. It has to come out. That the true is not like a Mahananta Gnana Sagar, Shakti Sagar, Aishwarya Sagar, which we can't. It has to be experienced by self. It cannot be. We cannot say what is Gnan, what is Shakti, what is Aishwarya. That is this is the gunas and Shaktis. The God is always, that is not an idol, not a form, not a name. It is only for the beginning. We start with that, then only we can reach. From senses only, we have to understand the subject knowledge. Then once the stage comes, the senses will not reach to that stage. We have to, beyond the senses, we have to go to that level. That is what I say, the object and subject.
Yes, perfect. Yes, so we all have to use, as what I to just reiterate or recap what you're saying, is we got to use these tools. We've got the physical body, the mind, and the intellect. Use these tools and also understand the limitation of these tools.
That's exactly the child. Child, we used to take a slate and the type of chalk piece, but we can't go with the same to now the computer level. The levels have come. We have to leave that. We can't carry on that the slate and chalk piece.
Yes, perfect. Yes, Ji. Correct. Right. Arunama, I know you want to say something.
Hariom Guruji.
Yes,
not that I want to say anything much. I was just thinking, when I try to understand all the words by itself, it becomes very confusing and difficult to understand. But when I just try to understand the what is being told, that God is not an objective experience. It is a subjective experience. You have to become it. It is not like, for example, like until you reach that state, only when you reach that state, you realize that God is not an objective experience. Before that, like people like me, like when I go to the temple, that bhakti comes and I get carried away. I think that, oh, I'm experiencing God there. That feelings of the mind come. Or in certain other ways, I try to intellectualize God. And at my objective level, I think that is God. Okay, and through my senses, what I am thinking is through objective experiences, we are trying to relate God through our intellect, our mind, and our senses. But once we go beyond that and we become it, then we look back and realize how foolish we have been. We realize that God is not anything that you can understand. It's completely different from what you thought you understood through your body, mind, and intellect. So a person who has reached at that level is looking back and telling that God is not an objective experience. It is.
No. I'm very concerned when you say what you said. See, what you said, when you go to a place of worship or you perform an act of ritual, and it invokes a certain divine feeling in you. It arouses a certain feeling.
Yes.
Let's respect that. it should never be that I take this stance of what the guru and the student in the text says, that God is not something which is experienced objectively. It's a subjective experience. That would be arrogance for us to say that. It is all right for them to say that, not for us.
Yes, I mean,
You're with me?
Yeah.
You're with me on that? We should
Yeah.
not use this language to be dismissive or belittle the emotion that is triggered through any divine experience you have. It arouses a certain feeling. You have a certain reverence to your guru. You have a certain respect for that. You surrender to the text, or you have a certain divine feeling. You can't compare that to the subjective experience of realization. It's chalk and cheese. But that doesn't mean I come and knock off what I'm experiencing now and saying, oh, God is some subjective, not an objective thing. I don't think we ought to think that way.
Yeah.
All what we got to understand at that experience, or when we are at that level, is to understand, am I attached to that form of worship? Am I able to go beyond that and see God beyond what I'm holding on to? We got to take baby steps. We can't take a leap from where we are to that. It's almost tantamount to arrogance. If I were to speak in this language, it tantamounts to arrogance in my sadhana. I should never ever do that. This is something at the back of our mind. It's there that this is what ultimately it is. But at my level, I should not develop any attachment to any form of worship. I should not be obsessively a slave to it. Understand it is beyond it. Because when you go beyond it, where do you reach? Don't you reach here?
Yes.
Ultimately, you reach here. But I got to be very realistic in what I say, isn't it? Am I truly at that level to say it is subjective? I am not. Neither should I be unrealistic in speaking the language of the Shastras, nor should I be ignorantly attached to what I'm practicing. These are the two extremities. I repeat what I'm saying. We should not be unrealistic in the state what the Shastras are saying here, nor should I be ignorantly attached to what I'm practicing. So where should I be? I should make faithful use of whatever I'm practicing, whatever sadhana I'm using, make faithful use of it, but be aware that God is beyond it, just beyond it. So I don't have to limit God to what I'm believing in, what I'm practicing in, isn't it?
Yes.
So that little bound, you got to start increasing the boundary of God's pervasiveness. It's just not to the sanctum sanctorum. Every stone in that compound wall of the temple is God. Everywhere you put your foot in the temple, every piece of stone where you put your foot on is actually God, isn't it? Because every act, even to take it literally, to put up the divine structure, every effort was through a yajna spirit, isn't it?
Guruji, I mean, can I put it this way? That means it is an advice that is given to us to understand that while we are going through these experiences, like Guruji was telling, we learn and appreciate it, and also understand that it is not the ultimate thing. So it is like an advice that is coming to us. So, okay.
Absolutely. It is we are given a direction to think and contemplate and remember that is the ultimate truth.
Okay.
It's like when something happens in your child's life. Let's say your child, your grandchild, when your child was going through kindergarten or school or college, and she would have had certain challenges or failures. Have you not advocated to advise the child that this is not the end of it, man? Why are you thinking this exam is everything? No, you have much longer road ahead of you. So look at the bigger picture. Don't you tell? Whatever hiccups of life the child has, don't you look at the child, tell the child to see a bigger picture? Don't get emotionally caught up in the failure of your current experience or the loss of what you're going through now. Everything has a part in the bigger picture of life. Similarly, everything that you're practicing, the knowledge you're learning, the karma you're doing, the unselfish work you're doing, the bhakti or objects of devotion that you're holding on to, play a part in the bigger picture of your roadmap to realization. But if you're hanging on to these views, you're hanging on to these idols, you're hanging on to your little seva you're doing with the obsessive attachment,
Then we will not grow.
You will not grow. So you must make faithful use of everything at every stage of your life. And when it has served the purpose, get rid of it and pick up something higher. That is what a guru is interested in your growth. Not try to start imagining you in a state where you're not and make a mess of where you are. Make faithful use of what you have, where you are, and use these great texts as a direction to get there. But don't be at an unrealistic state of what the text is talking, nor be in a comfortable state of getting attached to your practices which you're attached to. Inject that spirit of detachment and realize it is beyond it. It is beyond it. It's beyond it. And ultimately, you'll come to a state where the verse is saying that self is not an object of experience, it's a subjective becoming. At that point, you have gracefully rejected the entire terrestrial world. Now you're not there. Start with practicing the same principle where you are. If you believe something is reality, understand it's beyond it. That's all you say.
Yeah, Guruji, yeah, it's very clearly understood. Guruji, I like the example that you gave me also. Like, can I just explain to you how I could relate to that example? Please tell me whether it's correct. Like you were telling, when we grow as children, we grow and mature and we become adults. When we become, like when we're children, we think that we know it and we tell our parents, I know it. But later when we become adults, when we look back, we realize we were actually so ignorant. Okay, that comes only as a realization when we are finally adults. So can we, can we relate to that, to this, to what is being told here?
Yes,
because
you can
only
say
as
so.
mature adults, we realize how ignorant we were. That realization dawns on us how ignorant we were. When we were small, we were thinking that we knew everything. But once we become adults, we think about our childhood follies and we realize we made a big mistake. So in the same way, when that subjective experience comes, when we look back, we realize that all that we thought was not what was actually was being told. Am I correct?
Yes, in same breath, the masters are looking at as spiritual children. Bala, yes. You are spiritual children still crawling, and you think what you are holding on to is everything in life. But spiritual dollies and tollies and pollies is everything what you think. Grow up, man. Grow up. And the day you actually mature spiritually, you understand how childishly I was holding on to something, believing it's everything. You don't dismiss off a childish excitement. You understand that they have a limited perspective. You don't take objection to it. As a parent, you don't take objection. You understand the childishness. Exactly the same way these masters have towards our childish fanaticism to something which we believe in is everything. You know, I don't want to be very cynical or critical, but just to take this very context, there's such a huge momentum of people going towards, Shabarimala. I know Setuji, we spoke a lot about it, and in some context we spoke. And there is that the Jyotir they see, isn't it? The Deepam. Somewhere far in the mountains, there's a deepam that appears. I don't know how to put it in light in the context of this, sir. God is not an object of perception. It's not something which you can see with the eye. And yet I go all the way there to see that the little light which just props up somewhere in the yonder, in the mountains. I don't know. Is that God? Is it God? I'm only questioning. I'm not here to unsettle anybody. The Guru is not to unsettle. The Guru is trying to tell you a direction to think beyond it. It is not the grand spectacle of seeing the Lord Balaji. It's not you go to the great, Badrinath or Kedarnath, or you go to Mecca, Medina. It's you go to that most grandest of places. You may go and see Mount Kailash and Mansarovar. Is God an object of perception? Just that question mark should be there. Is that alone a God of? Is that alone? Can you limit God to that experience alone? What about the rest? What about the lamp that is lit behind me? Is this not God? I don't see any difference of the lamp that lights up in Shabrimala and then the lamp here. I don't see any difference. I see the same self. This is to challenge our this is ignorance, childish excitement. This is everything. We get carried away. So don't allow the knowledge to develop ahankar. Ahankar should never come. At the same time, we should use a strong knowledge to knock off our attachments. So the knowledge should not develop ego. At the same time, the same knowledge should break our attachments and fanaticism. Isn't it? It's like using the kitchen sharp. You want the best kitchen knife. But when you're using the kitchen knife, you don't want to cut yourself. The same kitchen knife can cut you. You've got to be very careful, isn't it? All right. Hariji messaged me something. Guruji, is it right to say, you want me to read it out? It is beyond this, or do we say it is beyond? Is it a grammatical construction, grammatical error? Can you please read out what you're saying, Ji?
Guruji, I'm sorry. I hope I'm not delaying everybody. But what I was saying is that is the difference basically that we should not be saying it is beyond this, but we should be saying it is also beyond this. And that word also makes all the difference. That is what justifies Makar Jyoti. When you say that is also God, right? Then, and that also thing has not been seen by everybody. That's what makes it special. So it is not just a question of limiting, it's the question of saying it is also this. I am not denying that it is not there in the idol. When you say it is not this, then you say it is not in the idol, it is outside. It's elsewhere, it is everywhere. But when you say that it is also not outside, then you are saying it is there in the idol. So I think that's an essential difference.
Yes, you can say that. It's important to get the sentiment, the spirit with which I'm coming across, but not to be mistaken. As I said, no intention to unsettle anything. We often said, what is it? I was explaining to Arnam, I said, I don't see any difference in every stone that is used to build a temple. We say that the sanctum sanctorum, the deity is also as a piece of a stone, carved out of a piece of stone. I don't see any difference. What is the difference between a rock that is lying outside, neglected, and a stone which has been carved out to bring about a sculpture which you're worshipping. I don't see a difference. It's that's what they're saying. God is everywhere. But am I at that level? I am not at that level. Therefore, I need to have a form saguna. I need to have a form saguna to worship God. I can't see the God in a formless piece of stone. That is nirguna. Can I see the God? Can I see Ganesha in a piece of a broken stone or a rock? A sculptor sees a potential and he carves out a beautiful sculpture out of it. He has the vision to see it. Similarly, we must have that spiritual vision to be able to attune to that reality, to the self, through these formless, meaningless expressions. But everything is nothing but God and God alone. So, but one day we all will truly rise to understand it subjectively. It's not just a mere objective understanding. All right. So, remember, we often say this: everything, every idol only represents the ideal. Idol only represents the ideal. So, interesting experience of the great Ramana Maharshi, which Setuji has captured in the chat box. So, all of these great men point to that same truth. Okay, so please ponder over it. I'll come back again and we can clarify further. Okay. There was also a suggestion that we should, which we are planning to implement the other classes we have having from 1 hour 15 minutes to an hour and a half. So we're extending 15 minutes, which we thought we could apply to this class, which started primarily for the people from the Asia Pacific region. So if it's okay, I know it may be a little stretching for you all. If it is fine, we could do that. Otherwise, do communicate to us. We can limit it to hour and a quarter. Okay, we'll come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.